Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with reference recordings. And today we're talking about Lohengrin. Yeah, Lohengrin, the opera by Wagner. You know, Lohengrin. Oh, I never liked Lohengrin. I really didn't. And I have Mildred here assisting me. Right, Mildred? Yes? Are you going to help me? Are you as interested in Wagner as I am, or are you just going to go back to sleep? I have a feeling she's just going to go back to sleep. Yes, Lohengrin. See, it works, even on her. Here's the deal. Lohengrin, well, let me put it to you this way. Verdi probably summed it up best when he went to see Lohengrin and felt a little guilty about the fact that he fell asleep in Vienna. He was at a performance in Vienna. And he said, I sort of felt guilty about falling asleep till I realized that all the Viennese were falling asleep too. So then it was okay. It's a long opera. It's a really long opera. It has, of course, the wonderful prelude, the terrific Act 3 prelude, the bridal chorus, and then it's got like lots of screaming about Brabant and Elsa and Lohengrin and swans and Gottfried. And, you know, it's one of those operas that you have to get used to because it's a romantic opera. What that means is that you have incredibly stupid characters doing ridiculous things before the female lead dies, for no other reason than the fact that she's the female lead, and female leads always have to die in romantic operas, which is what happens to Elsa, because you know these characters are just so abysmally silly. You know, Elsa is waiting for her savior, you know, in Lohengrin, because Gottfried, her brother, has been, you know, whisked away, actually enchanted by the evil Orchard and turned into a swan, the swan thing or something like that. And so, you know, Lohengrin comes to rescue her and agrees to marry her on the condition that she never asks him who he is or where he's from or what he does for a living or who his parents are or whether, you know, he's even had a blood test before they get a marriage license. I mean, it's just absurd. So, of course, Ortrud, you know, who is a sorceress and a follower of the old ways. Ooh, yes, the juicy old ways, and wants to return Brabant to that, and his you know, doesn't, you know, is really running the whole show there with her buddy Telmarud, who's I don't even know how to pronounce him. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Telramund, that's him. Telramund. Yes, Telramund is sort of a dope and just does whatever she tells him to, and yeah, God, you know, it's sort of annoying even to talk about. I mean, I did see it several times, and I, especially with a friend of mine when we went to the Met, and we had really great seats, and we were both really bored for most of it. So there you go. Now, that said, a great performance does a lot to keep you awake. And obviously, I'm not giving a great performance because Mildred here is not. Are you awake, Mildred? Hello, Mildred. Yes, there you go. Thank you. Oh, I know. I'll get done with this soon. I promise. So there is a reference recording, however, for Lohengrin. And, you know, the whole point of this series is it has nothing to do with whether I like the work or like the performance. It's the fact that a reference recording exists. And this reference recording has been the reference recording since the minute it came out. And it's Kempe. Kempe, who is such a great conductor, and he's so great in Wagner, and he's so great in music that has, you know, all these lovely, luscious orchestral sonorities, which, of course, Wagner always does. I mean, his use of the bass clarinet in this opera is like, you know, a clinic all by itself. And we have, as Lohengrin, Jess Thomas. And there he is. I actually like this picture better. The original one, I remember there was like a more full-on picture of him, and he's wearing what looks like this gold lame dress. It was one of the things that turned me off of this opera. It was the gold lame dress. It was just so phony and inappropriate. I mean, just ridiculously inappropriate. But anyway, here's Jess Thomas in his gold lame dress, and Elizabeth Grümmer as Elsa. She's a lovely, feminine, incredibly stupid airhead of an Elsa. And Ortrud is Christa Ludwig. And fresh, young voice, fabulous. I mean, when was this recorded? 1964. I mean, this was Christa Ludwig at the very, very peak of her early career. Such an amazing singer and a wonderful person. I do confess, I kind of like Astrid Varney's Ortrud because she's sort of nastier and more evil sounding. But Christa Ludwig is such a great singer. Oh, she's absolutely wonderful. And let's see, Fischer-Dieskau is Telramund, trying to make him sound smart, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. And we have Gottlob Frick as King Heinrich der Vogler. And last, the Herald, Otto Wiener. For all of you Otto Wiener fans, this is Otto Wiener's greatest performance ever as the Herald. And we have the Vienna Philharmonic. Oh, yes, with Rudolf Kempe. The whole performance lasts 3 hours and 12 plus 17, 29 plus 8. What's 29 plus 8? 37. 3 hours and 37 fun-filled minutes. And what drives me crazy about Lohengrin, and I've said this many times about this opera, is that Ortrud, as the only smart person in the whole opera, does the dumbest thing. She does the dumbest thing because good has to triumph over evil, which is just such a pity, isn't it? Because evil is they get all the fun stuff. And what's happened is that she's basically won. I mean, Elsa is asked the nasty questions and she's about to drop dead for no reason. And Lohengrin is going to abandon her, and Brabant is really in the dumps, and they're about to return to the fabulous pagan old ways, and with Ortrud as the head of the show. And then she comes screeching in the last 5 minutes and says, it was I. I'm the one who turned Gottfried into a swan, and I'm the one who was behind all of this. And it's all me, and I win, ha, 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 I win, which gives Lohengrin time to, hold up his sword and do something prayerful, and has, the Holy Grail pops up and mystic light happens and everything turns blue for 5 seconds. And then Gottfried turns back into Gottfried, and Ortrud is, of course, I'm never quite sure what happens to Ortrud at the end. I mean, she gets banished or she dies or who knows what happens to Ortrud. No one cares at that point. She loses. That's the point. And if she had just shut up for 2 more minutes, she would have had the whole kit and caboodle nicely sewn up and we'd have all gone home happy. But no, and we get the religious sanctimonious conclusion that just adds the drippy, ooky, extra saccharine icing on this particular cake. So yeah, I doubt I'm ever going to really enjoy Lohengrin. I mean, I can see it. I appreciate what it is. I mean, it was a huge step forward in Wagner's musical evolution. You can look at it that way. It's a remarkable piece in that sense, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. All those fanfares, heraldic fanfares, and people talking about Elsa von Brabant and all that. Oh, God. Okay. This is the reference recording of it. No matter what, it's the reference. It's the one you have to hear, because if you're going to like Lohengrin, this is the one that's going to make you like Lohengrin. It is also the greatest recording of Lohengrin. That's not always true with reference recordings. As I've said before, there are many, many reference recordings that are not necessarily going to be your favorites or the best recording of the work. But here's one of those cases where the consensus pick for greatest and also reference recording is one and the same, which means it's just all that much more special. So it's on Warner in this particular incarnation. The conductor is the wonderful Rudolf Kempe, who I would listen to conduct the, Manhattan Telephone Directory. He was just a wonderful conductor. And the cast is amazing. And, so you are free to enjoy it as much as you possibly can. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Mildred. I know. Thank you very much. It was nice of you to help me sleep through this. And take care. See you next time.